Hey viewers, you're watching the Savera and I'm Vidhi Joshi. After the United States imposed a steep 50% tariff on Indian imports last August, tensions between India and the US escalated significantly. This tariff hike was driven primarily by India's ongoing oil trade with Russia, which didn't sit well with Washington. The US had already imposed a 25% reciprocal tariff on Indian goods, but the additional 25% penal tariff came as a surprise, raising the total duty to an unprecedented 50%. This sent shockwaves through India's export sectors, particularly in labor-intensive industries like textiles, engineering goods and certain food products, where profit margins are already razor-thin. But there may be a silver lining ahead. India's chief economic advisor, V. Anand Nageswaran, has expressed optimism that the additional 25% penal tariff could be rolled back as soon as November 30, offering a glimmer of hope for Indian exporters. Nageswaran, speaking at an event in New Delhi, made it clear that his view is based on his personal assessment rather than any formal indication from the US government. He acknowledged that the tariffs were not anticipated and that geopolitical factors likely influenced their imposition. However, he remains hopeful, citing recent developments and back-channel conversations between the two governments as reasons for his optimism. Nageswaran suggested that while the reciprocal tariff, which is currently at 25%, could also see some reduction, the focus is mainly on removing the penal tariff. He indicated that the US might lower the reciprocal duty to a range of 10 to 15%. All these reductions, if they come to fruition, would provide much-needed relief to Indian exporters who have been struggling with the uncertainty created by the high tariffs. The lifting of the penal tariff in particular would restore predictability and stability to the trade relationship between the two nations, which has been severely disrupted over the past few months. All these comments come at a time when both Indian and US officials are working on finding a solution to the trade dispute. Just days before Nageswaran's remarks, India's chief trade negotiator Rajesh Agarwal met with Brandon Lynch, the US trade representative for South and Central Asia in New Delhi. This meeting marked the first face-to-face talks between the two sides since the additional tariffs were imposed. It is clear that both the governments are actively engaged in resolving the situation, although Nageswaran cautioned that domestic political factors in the US, particularly with the upcoming elections, could influence the final outcome. As November 30 approaches, Indian exporters and industry leaders are watching closely to see whether the US will follow through on the promise on easing tariffs. While the outcome remains uncertain, there is a growing sense of hope that the trade tensions could soon be eased, bringing much-needed stability to one of India's most significant trade relationships. That's all for now. Stay tuned to the Savera for more updates. Do like, comment and subscribe to the channel.